over Sri Umamesh Ji's second part on his talk on the science of Vedic phonetics. In the part one, we have seen Umesh Ji has explained a lot of stuff on the science behind the sounds of the Akshara and the architecture. He has drawn a beautiful architecture on the phonetics and how they actually form the basis for our, not just the phonetics alone, but also the other sciences, the entire gamut of Vedic science that we see now, including Jyotish, astronomy and everything. So that's how it forms. So he has given a nice architecture diagram also. And he has talked about many features of how they are organized, how they come up, and what are the various siddhantas that accompany the Vedic science. I think the second part is, I think he will focus on how this science has been adapted to the modern world, and then sometimes and mostly without any attributions, and then what are the modern applications of these linguistics in our linguistics. So without much ado, I'll hand over to Umesh Ji to conduct his next second session.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, Ji. Can I share my screen?
Yeah, sure. I have to make it faster.
So, Omkara Bindu Samyuktam Nityam Dhyayanti Yoginah Kamadam Mokshadam Tasmai Omkaraya Namo Namaha. Namaste everyone. Last session I discussed about science of Aksharam and origins of Akshara, these two topics in this mind map as part of the Vedic phonetics. So I am going to recap what we discussed for 5 minutes and just we go to next topics like Akshara as Paravidya. It's very, very important aspect because we always think Aksharam are related to linguistics, just linguistics, but Aksharams are the roots for this entire Indian traditional tree, not just Indian traditional tree. It is an incarnation of harmony. It's a mother. Mother actually takes care of every child. The same way Aksharams are taking care of the linguistic diversity of India, Greater India. So it has life. So what exactly Akshara and the internals of Akshara, like atomic truth of Akshara, we'll discuss today as part of Akshara as Paravidya, as well as influence and applications of Akshara, these two topics. And next one is important thing, contemporary challenges and solutions to Akshara. What exactly happening now and how we can solve those problems. These are the two part, sections. These two sections we are going to touch base today. So the first one is Akshara. Like previous session, we discussed about the Akshara, origins of Vedic sciences. I think like Akshara is a Vedic, Vedanga related aspect, linguistic aspect. We have linguistic diversity in Greater India. This is preserved because of the Aksharams. 50% of the world languages are in these countries. Mainly in India, we have a lot of classical language that is because of the Aksharams. So these things we discussed, and what is Gurukulam and what is actually Vedanga means. Vedanga is a kind of 4-layer structure, which is phonetics, etymology, grammar, and the prosody. That is nothing but chandas. These 4 things, and we know the Bharatiya Shastras are Shruti Vidyas. Shruti Vidya is nothing but a listening, learning, memorizing. It's a high-scale education system. It's not just a oral tradition. It's a high-scale education system. These things we discussed, and very importantly, the origins for this sign language is our Hasta Mudra. That is nothing but Vedic Hasta Mudras, Hasta Chal Mudra, and all these things. I shown some videos also, and I briefly discussed about what is Shiksha Shastra, Nirukta means what, and Vyakarana, Chandas, all these things. And after that, we went to this Akshara science. That's nothing but why the Akshara Samamnaya or that box. It's It's Akshara Samamnaya. The table of Akshara has some rows and columns. What is the science behind that? That we discussed. Each and every row and column has some secret in that Akshara Samamnaya. That rows are organized by something, some effort, and columns are organized by some effort, like those called Bahya and Abhyantara Pratnas, and how exactly these all discussed in our sutras, like based on some 28 easy sutrams, we can actually learn this thing very, very easily. How it was organized based on the Vedic linguistics, like mainly Vedic phonetics related sutrams, what is Karanam, Sthanam, all these things we discussed. And also the power of mainly the Maheshwara Sutras, that we concluded with, that we concluded this session. And this session, and very, very important thing that we discussed is how the modern phonetics is copying the ancient Akshara systems related concepts. The origin point is Vedic phonetics for this entire, modern phonetics. This is what we discussed in the previous session. This session is more like internals of the Akshara. Akshara is Paravidya. Paravidya, Aparavidya. Aparavidya is materialistic, physical related, and whereas metaphysical and philosophical, and also there's nothing but it's not philosophical, it is actually more perception. Like if you expand your perception, you can see something. For example, if you are not aware of some sound, if I'm not actually focusing on something, I may not listen, but if I'm focusing on something, if I'm using my five senses properly, then my perception is like told as it is expanded. That then the Paravidya starts. That's we are going to discuss here. So Aksharams are not just a linguistic subject. It is a complete solution to human beings' liberation. That's the concept of in our Vedic system. It's an aid to materialistic as well as spiritual activities. That's what we are going to discuss here. And what we have, like there are some input devices to every human being, for every creature in the creation. They are thus called tanmatras, pancha tanmatras we have. They are sabda, sparsha, rupa, rasa, gandhas, are nothing but light, like eye, ear, nose, skin, and you can taste something using tongue. But if you see the order of priority, a creature which doesn't have the eyes, they can actually hear, they can use the ear, and they can smell, they can touch. These perceptions will increase. But human being has all these five things, and the input devices, eye is powerful than ear because you can see the things which is far, and ear, and then nose, skin, tongue. This is the order. Dominance of eye and ear is more in the input devices. But practically, when your human's capability is speech, he can actually speak, and also not just speaking, he can imitate any sound in the world. That is, he has the mimicry capabilities. Whatever you listen, you could be able to reproduce. That's a practice. That capability only human has. That maturity of producing numerous sounds, there is some specialty of human being. Using this, he can tap his own energies. That's what the rishis thought. Then they introduced the vak. Vak is nothing but voice. Voice came from vak only, the Latin word. Vak is nothing but whatever we are speaking out. Generally, we are speaking out, we are communicating. Simple terms, whatever we're communicating. Either you communicate with eyes or with the talk or anything. Whatever you're communicating, also broadly under vak only, communication. So rishis, as per Vedic linguistics, also not only linguistics, as per the philosophical traditions like Sankhya, there are Shad Darsanas are there, Yoga, Tantra, all these things, they have some Vedic concept of Shabda, also the vak. Shabda is, they say Nitya, it is eternal, it won't diminish. That's why they are called Para, beyond the physical state. It takes the birth through Sankalpa. Sankalpa is what your thought or your desire. Then that state will get the physical form, that is Vaikari state. So in Vaikari state, you exhibit something. If you are a dancer, you exhibit with your hasta mudras and all, or you don't have tongue, you exhibit something with eyes and all, or you have a full-fledged human being, you talk, that's called Vaikari. That's why that Vishuddhi Chakra, this from Vishuddhi Chakra, whatever coming out, that's Vaikari state. So states between Para and Vaikari, there are two more states. They are Pashyanti and Madhyama. Pashyanti and Madhyama are two states. There are four states are there in this vak. Para, Pashyanti, Madhyama and Vaikari. Shabda is nothing but just speech, we say, has some artha also. When you are speaking, each word has some meaning. Pada and artha, if you merge, that will become a matter. That is padartha. And here it has a goal or meaning to convey something. So that is nothing but they call spota. There is a spotavada of Bhartruhari, Vakyapadiya, and there is spotavada has been very ancient since Rigvedic age. There are many spotainas and are in grammatical tradition. Spota is nothing but whatever meaning you are conveying, you should reach the end point properly. That is spota. Either it goes internally to your soul or outside, it should go. That's called spota. That is called, if it reaches properly, that's called rasa or resonance. Resonance came from rasa only. So rasa is nothing but you are reaching properly and there is proper mapping. Simple terms I am explaining you. So this is the Shabda has some meaning. Shabda and ultimate state of Shabda is indivisible and atomic. You can't actually divide because it is pervaded. Para states pervades everywhere. Whereas I will explain about Para, Pashyanti, Madhyama, Vaikari in simple terms. That's why they said Shabda is a Brahman, Shabda Brahma. There is a Shabdadvaita also by in the Vedic tradition. It is not Shankara's Advaita or some philosophical thing. It's a Shabdadvaita is a proper concept. It's a concept in Vedic tradition, in Purva Mimamsa, wherever you do the rites and all, right in the sense Kratu and all, there is proper recitation and that recitation will give proper benefits. And also there is Antaryaga also. Antaryaga also will give benefit. Generally, a connecting symbol to this Shabda is Om, Omkara. Why it is a connecting symbol, I will explain. So this Madhyama Vaikari, the whatever like Para, Madhyama Vaikari, Para, Pashyanti, Madhyama, in simple terms, Para is a life force, whatever life force wanted to communicate with others or origin to that entire activity, that is life force, that is Para. Pashyanti is subtlest and a root state for that cause of the expression. There is nothing but desire. If I have desire, I actually do something, either talk or anything. That is Pashyanti state. After Pashyanti state, the idea or whatever you wanted to communicate will get a conceptual. It will conceptualize using your idea or thought in your brain. That is nothing but medium or Madhyama state. And then that sound will be expressed with some sounds, that is the proper mouth, or there is a proper arrangement already we discussed in our Akshara science, Kachatatapa, Akachatatapa Yasha. From there you start talking. So comprehension by the speaker, that's called Vaikari state. This is briefly about 4 states. Based on that, for my study, I actually built this Akshara Padmam. Akshara Padmam is a lotus where the Bindu is the life force. Bindu is a symbol, the root cause for entire activities that the Bindu dot we normally represent in our traditions. And then the circle is the Spanda. Spanda is the vibration or the desire. Then it expands. Then from there, that is Pashyanti. From Pashyanti, it goes and get a form of thought. That thought is A, is the Anuswara. So A is the starting point here from the Kanthya. U is the end point of entire Vaikari sounds, that vocal system, U, A, and finally it goes to the nasal, Anuswara. So A, These 3 things are 3 endpoints to our entire, not only our, in the sense human beings entire Vaikari or expression, voice is all 3 endpoints. A, So as per Gunasandhi, it becomes A plus U, the Om. So we have that much details for that Om. Omkara is the Shabda Brahma, is the basis of everything, all the Vedas, because it actually symbolizes all the Vaikari cavity. That's why Omkara is a triangle, because it has 3 gunas also. From there your thought starts and you start explaining in these 8 petal Padma, Akachatatapa Yasha. We discussed what is the background science behind these 8 vargas also, 8 boxes. So then we know there are 4 states. We can sense only this state. Vaikari only we can perceive using the like physical state, and other three things, mainly the other two things, where Majjhima and Pashyanti, you need to practice, or you need to do some tantra or yoga or something, then you can sense them. So that's what I divided my topic into two things, like walk macro level is what? It's Vaikari, and micro level, other things. What is macro level? Already we discussed. We have proper linguistic mansion. That micro level starts actually from here to here it goes. I'm taking Omkara as the central point, and I'll discuss this. So this is our mansion, linguistic mansion, where we have aksharams and then padam, word, and then sentence, vakyam, and after vakyam we have prosody. You write slokams or poetry or whatever, or sentences, or just talk, no meaning. All these things comes under Vaikari state. So what I have done is I just diverted this. So from here Omkara, and it goes and just keep on goes extrovert, keep on goes outside world. Then
If
you
I
can, so this is here.
Maheshwar,
Yes, sir.
if I may interrupt, I think that picture on slide 10 and 11 is really brilliant in the sense that that is our linguistic architecture in one picture. That's
Yes,
really
yes.
brilliant. Really,
Exactly.
really brilliant. I think you should build on that. That's really good.
Yeah. So here this the Siksha Shastra is the basics, and then Nirukta Shastra and whatever the words, and then Champu, Bhashanam, Shlokam, Gadyam, all whatever like folk, everything, not just Vedic, folk or any like aboriginal words, everything here. And they may not have this construction, but people speak. So why I reverted back, I will explain here. So here you have Pranava, is nothing but Anuswara. That Anuswara, then U. Then it goes A, Aum. From there, the Padmam, it ended here. And from there, Akara, it starts and all the Aksharams. That's why what I did was, the fourth stage, Akachakta, one matra. From here, one matra starts. Akara, Ukara, one matra, 1 second. Then Dirgha, Pluta, and Ksha, Gunintams, all these things, they start 2 to 3 matras, then 2 to 5 matras, Dhatu and Bija mantras, and Sutrams, Rig mantras, all these things, they have some chandas. Gayatri has Tripada and 8, so 24. Like that, it starts, it goes Padakosham and Samasa, grammar starts, not just Sanskritam. I'm not just talking about Sanskritam here. As a human being, we always start from here to complete Vakyam, Vachanam, Svecha Bhashanam, just speak something. This is the macro level. This is Vaikari state. This we know, but there is a micro level also, walk micro level also. This is the beauty of our Hindu tradition, Sanatana Dharma. You have seen these two figures. Here, Sri Krishna is speaking something to his disciple in a friendly manner, that is Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavan is saying something in the Vaikari walk. Whereas here, this is another symbolism. He is speaking nothing. There is only Chinmudra, there is a silence, but he is speaking in Pashyanti. So, unspoken state of aksharams in inner space has meaning, has communication, the capabilities. That's what I wanted to convey here. So, what is that states? We have from the Anuswara, there is Ardhanuswara also. Normally, we may ignore the in Telugu Ardhasunna and Chandrabhanu. There is on Om they write this kind of symbol. In Hindi also, Hindi or North Indian language, South Indian language also we have. And that Ardhasunna is Ardhanuswara has half meter. From their nasal cavity, keep on, if you utter that, that goes and the breath goes to your eyebrow center. That eyebrow center, that is half matra. From there, actually, the Tantra books, all these things, they discuss different Sukshma chakras or Sukshma states. Nirodhini, Nada, Nadanta, Shakti, Vyapini, Samana, Unmana, Mahabindu, Shodasi, Bhairavi Sthiti or Bhairava Sthiti. There are different states. 1/4, 1/8, 1/16, the vibration, the count, that fast it vibrates. 132, you should be, that is nothing but the self state. It's not nothing. Sorry, it's not other thing is playing before you. You are actually focusing yourself and going to that state, that minute state, and you are focusing and your breath slows down, as well as your all the mental faculties will go concentrate on one place. So these all the different, they say as Sukshma Chakras also. From here, normally we represent with the Shat Chakras. I will explain those things also. Somebody asked me, the Shat Chakras, this is Muladhara, it is the base center, and Manipuraka, Muladhara, Swadhisthana, these two are genital organs, and from here Manipuraka, a navel point, and then from Manipuraka we have Anahata, that is the heart center. Then Vishuddhi is our throat, Vishuddhi chakra, and then we have Agnya chakra, this is eyebrow center. All these things are mapped with the actual aksharas. From here, from eyebrow center to here, Vyapini, it goes to Shikha state as per the Tantra books. From here, Nirodhini, that's why people they put Tika in Marathi. If you see, there is a Bindu and there is Chandra Bindu. This is called Ardha Chandrika, and from there it goes Nirodhini. There is a line. This Nirodhini actually tries to, this is the point where you focus fully internally or just go outside and have sensual pleasures or not. This is actually a point 1/8. From there, Nada, Nadanta. So Nadopasana, these words all you used to listen, I think in the musical traditions and all. From there, actual Nada is internal sounds you can listen properly. You actually close all your 5 senses and go inside. In Pratyahara state, you sit for some time. So from here, actual journey starts. That is represented, all these things from here, from Omkara to here is represented between Agnya Chakra to Sahasrara. That's what they explain, the Sukshma Chakras. So these are not loosely mapped with Madhyama and Pashyanti states, and Sahasrara, like Para state, we can't explain those things, and up to Pashyanti state, it is nothing but nowadays the modern trends, they say astral travel, like telepathic, all these things, Akashic, the fancy words are normally mapped with Pashyanti state and Madhyama. This is normally this called as Antarmatra Nyasa as per traditional thing. I will explain that later. This is the states of Shabda. Para is manifest in the Prana, Pashyanti manifest in the Manas, that's nothing but Bhavana, that is desire, and then manifest in Indriya and brain, and Vaikari manifest in the physical body. So these all Para Shakti, that's what I explained here. This is Para Shakti, and this is called Ichha Shakti, desire, and this is nothing but Jnana Shakti is knowledge, then Kriya Shakti is the action. That's what is a spindle and a triangle, it just rotates. So this is what explained in many Tantric and Sri Vidya Sampradaya, and also Vaikhanasa Vaishnava Sampradayas, many, like, the pure science. If you go back, not just recent traditions, if you go back in the Vedic tradition, you will get to know a lot of information about this. So this, what my what I'm going to share is Pranava is the doorway, a central point to macro and micro level. That's why Omkara is a gateway. If you want to open gate and go, if you want to go inside, there's the end point, Omkara. That's why we always represent anything with Om, any God, anything, any Om is the Shabda Brahman. That is the doorway. From there, it goes inside. And now I will talk about Agama Shastra. Agama Shastra is nothing but, it's not just temple related. Normally we think Agama is temple. Agama Shastra talks about 4 main parts. The place which you wanted to focus as Rupa, which has something. And there are only 2 things in the world. Nama Rupatmakam Jagat. Nama Rupa has some sound or some shape. These 2 things is called as Padartha, matter. Then to access the root cause of this entire thing, you need to take this Rupa and Nama as the aid, as a tool, and then you need to achieve. That is our concept. So that's why we introduced the Agama Shastra. Agama Shastra has 4 things, that is Rupa or Murti, Yantra, there is a mantra, and Tantra. Tantra is Tanyate Vistaryate Tantra, means it's nothing but a kind of some task, something you do and you achieve the goal. So it is nothing but explaining knowledge in a easy terms is nothing but Tantra. Tanyate Vistaryate Jnanamiti Tantra, the knowledge you. And mantra, Mananatra iti mantra. when you chant something, it actually protects you either spiritually or anyway. That is mantra. It's a repetitive thing. A yantra has a geometric structure, and on top of that is rupa or murti. Either this can be done, this Agama Shastra can be done two ways, Antaryaga or Bahiryaga. Bahiryaga means outside, right? Like Vedic rituals or the temple, all these things. Or by Antaryaga. Antaryaga, Upasana, they say in the Upanishadic and Aranyaka, from there that starts, Antaryaga starts. And also Tantric worship, you need to install your something in your heart center or somewhere and keep on go. These are Antaryagas. Example is Sri Vidya Sampradaya is one Antaryaga. So these all, what I'm explaining is, everything has meaning in our tradition. Don't think it's a Murti has some shape, something, painting, not painting. This is Kartikeya, Shanmukha, Subramanya, where has 6 heads. 6 heads are nothing but these 6 chakras. Kundalini, he is a shape, serpent shape from Mooladhara to it goes Sahasrara. Mooladhara is Shakti, and whereas Shiva is a Sahasrara. Somaskanda, his tradition is nothing but Shiva, Parvati, and Subramanya. It's nothing but entire structure of that Kundalini, like spinal cord. That's why, and I'm not guessing this. This is as a that mantras or installation mantras, all these things they speak about that. And this is Trishula. This Trishula, as per Kashyapa Silpa Shastra, Trishula Rajubandha Vidhi, there is a chapter for that. That is nothing but in what they do is, the main thing is Sushumna Nadi, and this Ida and Pingala and other nadis, their Raju is nothing but a thread. They actually do the bandha, and they chant the mantras. That there is a proper procedure for that. Like that, they install Trishula. So there is a meaning for Trishula also. Sushumna Agna, sorry, in this Agna center, and same nadi names they utter in that, and they install the Trishula as per the Shaiva Agama. This is Sri Chakra. Sri Vidya Sampradaya has that. It's very, very complex and very, very, very powerful structure pattern. And this is 24 shapes of Vishnu. There is a Keshava, Narayana, Madhava. These 24 names has different symbolisms. These Chakra, Shankhu, and Gada and Padma will change 24 different shapes. Like that, they install the as per the Vaishnava tradition, there is a Pancharatra and Vaikhanasa. As per that, they install and they worship. For that worshipping, there is a Murti, there is Yantra, and very, very important aspect is Mantra. Same way, our Aksharams also, we have for each and every Aksharam, there is a Dhyana Sloka, what type of Murti, what weapon they have, and what kind of symbolism we should do a chant. And each Aksharam is a kind of a pilgrim center or an energy center that has some meaning, and we can actually connect to that sound internally, not just uttering. Inside, keep on, you can repeat mentally, and you can tap that related frequency also. For that purpose, there is a Murti and Dhyana Sloka. As per Siddha Sabara Tantra, there are some things. This is for A and this is for Ksha. These two are Devatas. So, always unspoken state of Aksharams in the inner space, that's mantra, that has some power. Normally, Manasika Japam is nothing but if you repeat internally, not a tape recorder, if you know the meaning and you need to repeat, that's Manasika Japam actually influences the breath. The breath pattern will change. End of the breath pattern, normally the 12 units, that's called Nada Anta, Dwadashanta actually, sorry, this is wrong, Dwadashanta. Dwadasha is 12, that 12 inches end of the breath will be shrink slowly and goes and it actually connects to the Manas. Sorry for the type. This is Dwadashanta. So 12 inches breath will be shrink and it connects to the actual prana. Prana is different, breath is different. So that prana and manas are related. Nothing but your thoughts and your breath flow is related. So that actual process starts there. As per our tantric books, manas has some thought as well as subconscious mind. Nowadays it's very famous word, the subconscious mind, which is a front end for the consciousness, that actually will be synchronized with the mantra or whatever bija you're saying. From there, you start, whether it is self-realization or you wanted to tap something in the Pashyanti state, desire fulfillment, or using the Bija mantras. According to that Bija mantra, it will give the result. So that mantra creation is a nice process. This is also depending on aksharams only. For example, lam, hum, yam, ram, vam. We know this. Lam. I will show you this again. I will show this presentation. Lam is Mooladhara. Lam is for the earth property. Prithvi Tattva. Vam is for the water. That is Swadhisthana. Like that. Ram is for Agni. Yam. You know, it's simple. These are Panchabhutas. 5 elements. Hum is Akasha. For example, if you take a ice that is in Prithvi Tattva, if it melts, it will become water. And after water, it becomes as ionic state. After ionic state, it becomes gaseous state, and it has a shape. The difference between Agni Tattva and Vayu Tattva, Agni has, you can see Agni, whereas you can see the fire, you can't see the gaseous state. That's the difference. Between the water state and the gaseous state, there is also a ionic state. But Agni Tattva, so Prithvi, Apas, Tejo, Vayu, Akashat, and space. These 5 things has some Bijakshara, Lava, Ra, Ya, Ha. Higher Lavat. That's why the Nandikeshwara Kasik, I mean to say Maheshwara Sutras has that same line in one sutra. So there is a proper meaning for these all. There's a proper mapping. So the Bhuta Bijas are Laha, that Lam, all these things. So like that, they create the Bija mantras and mantras, all these things. They create means there's a tradition, Rishi tradition for that. So everything has some proper, introspection. It has a guru system, a sampradaya for that tradition. And Hamsa also, very importantly, Hamsa Japa, Ha, Sa, there is a lot of meaning in that. They are called para, as per the Guru Sampradaya, you need to learn these things. The breath, whatever, left nostril, right nostril, and it goes and, inhale, exhale, Ha and Sa, and then that's called Ajapa Gayatri. And there's a tradition for that actually. That directly connects to the breath, level. First level is utterance, and inside utterance, Manasika. And again, it connects to the breath, it controls, and after breath, it goes to the manas, that's not bhavana, and then it goes again. So this 4-layer architecture, same thing, like Parapashina, Majjhima, Vaikari only. For Hamsa Japa and breath, Kumbhaka, all these people, directly they go to the breath state. That is also Nada, that is also Aksharam only. But it's kind of sprout, whereas Aksharam is a plant. That's the difference. Hamsa, and through Prana to Manas, inner Pashyanti, you can connect. Like that, this is the tradition, mantra tradition we have. That's why this unspoken state of aksharams. And next thing is tantra. Tantras we have. Tantra is normally a activity which actually explains about the gnanam. Gnanam is knowledge. Tanyate, vistaryate gnanam means it actually explains. That's why in Karnataka we have Tantrika Vidyalaya. Tantrika Vidyalaya is engineering colleges, which can do some engineering on, and can see and do some, there is a proper steps to achieve some goal. That is Tantra. So either you can, it is an activity to connect physical body and manas. Hatha Yogam is one example. Hatha is Ida and Pingala, that you can match. Here you don't utter anything, but you do that charm, that is yogic tradition. Nada Yoga through classical ragas or Samaganam. For example, great musicians, great Vagyakaras like Chagaraja, Muthuswami Dikshitar and Shama Sastri, and also Purandardasa, great people, they use this method and they attained that Nadanta state, Nada state directly. But they normally, they don't speak out. Vaikari state, they don't talk. They directly go to the Majjhima state and Omkara, Pranava, Nadopasana, they do, and directly they go to that. And also there are different ragas for different bija, different desires, different murtis, different mantras. This is a science. So same thing, this is influenced by Samagana recitation. And Spota Veda Jnanam also. For every mantra you should properly utter, then you can achieve. And that time, that is Swadhyaya, that time you should follow something that is Satya Bhashanam. And Satya Bhashanam is truthfulness. That is, I will explain the Trikana triangle also, Trikarana triangle also. This is one aspect. And Natya Shastra also have mudras, like even Natya Shastra and Tantra, whatever, like Agamic rites also have some mudras. The mudra they do, and with proper bhava, with Natya Shastra also you can achieve. With Natya also you can achieve that state. Kalpa and Kratu has same mudras. And we know this thing, we have been told in our Bhagavad Gita, like Nishkama Karma means compassionate help or something with your proper responsibilities without any expectation, with proper Trikarana Suddhi. I will tell about Trikaranas, how they are mapped to Sphota and Satya Bhashanam. And some dandas like Vijnana Bhairava Tantra, all these things they explained about 112 different types of tools or techniques to access this internal state, parastate I mean to say. Those are different things explained, but to practice those things you need to have a guru, as well as you need to have proper cleansing mechanisms, that is Satya Bhashanam and Ahimsa. Satyam and Ahimsa, these two are very important for anything. Otherwise things will easily go wrong, and this won't give result to anyone who is practicing. So that's what the tradition says. Mantra exponents the tantra. So for those tantras, mantra is very important. Very important means that can be an aid. That's why for something you need to add that one, and same our aksharams only we need to add. There is nothing. They say big name means great names they give. That is only taught by guru, but you should be knowing the power of aksharams. Atuksha, that is only chanted in that nyasas. There are almost 81 nyasas are there. Nyasa is nothing but keeping. For example, some mantra you keep on your body, some eyes, something. We say our body is a temple. That's nothing but Deho Devalaya Prokta, Jivo Devas Sanatana. So on temple, you need to nyasa, you need to perform on different places, different devatas. Devata is also a synonym for mantra. So for those devatas, again you re-establish and keep there, and you do nyasa. Keep on, you need to do nyasa with proper focus and meaning and bhava. Otherwise it won't give any result. Just chanting, it won't give any result, because it is not based on just utterance. It's based on the utterance as well as the introspection focus. It's very, very important. So there are two nyasas are there. Someone, they asked me to talk about this. There is Antarmatruka nyasa and Bahirmatruka nyasa. These two are important nyasas. There are almost 81 nyasas are there. Those nyasa, kala nyasa, many things. Normally what the people they do is, the mantri or who perform some rite, for example, installation of a temple or installation of idol or anything, any worship, they have to cleanse their three layers. One is body, the external one, karana means the sukshma sarira and the sula sarira, all these things, layers you need to cleanse. For that purpose you need to do a bhuta suddhi. Bhuta suddhi is nothing but you need to go from the earth state to water state to that state, slowly go, and then go to the akasha state and stay there, and then exhale and melt out or fire the papa, or nothing but the sins or the negative thoughts in the body. Cleanse it and keep it. Think all the nectar is coming on you, pouring it, and stay there with peace, proper peace. Then you chant is Antarmatruka nyasa, Bahirmatruka nyasa. Then actual proper platform will be established. Then you can start your mantra, desired mantra. So go there and focus, and then start your, it's almost a proper experimenting something, physical, like scientific experiment. Should go and do this. For that purpose, Antarmatruka nyasa and Bahirmatruka nyasa are normally taught in the Sri Vidya traditions or any traditions, means whoever doing the installation, normally they do this. Vedic traditions. Matruka nyasa, inner and outer. Inner nyasa is simple. Already I explained. These chakras, inner nyasa is inti chakras. 6 chakras. You each has some petal. On each petal you think about one aksharam. That is inner, like Antarmatruka nyasa. Matrukas are nothing but aksharams only. Matruka is mother, basis for everything. So Matruka, Antarmatruka nyasa. Bahirmatruka nyasa is on the body. What outside you do nyasa, and you will be established with proper sanctity. So this is inner matruka nyasa. Adhare linga nabho hridaya sarasije talumule lalate. Adhare muladhara linge. Linga is genital organ, that is the swadhisthana chakra. Nabho, nabhi point is manipuraka. Hridaya is the anahata chakra. Hridaya sarasije, that is hridaya kamalam. And talumule is the vishuddhi chakra, that is this. And lalate agna chakra. For these things, dve patre means again these two petal, like that this goes on, these slokas, and they say what simply that's nothing but all these things are to these vowels, then these are consonants. So internally you nyasa, you put on those things. Same way you put on the outside also. This is called antarmatruka nyasa and bahirmatruka nyasa. This is a great tradition. These are simple things I am telling. There are only a couple of points here, couple of topics, but there are many related to aksharams in our tradition. So aksharams is the basis for entire culture. So next is Spota and Rasa, Satya Darshanam, Trikarana Suddhi. I told there is a Trikarana triangle. I draw, like there is a mind, thoughts. If you want to express the thought, either you can exhibit either walk, speech, or body. Mano Vakaya Karma. Karma is you do the work. So this Trikarana triangle should be in sync. That's what the Spota says. Whatever thought, whatever you are speaking, whatever you are thinking, whatever you are acting, these three should be in sync. Then only you reach the Bindu. Otherwise you won't, you can't. That's what they say. Even though you do mantra, tantra, everything, all the magics, but you can't reach here. This triangle should go into the dot state. That's why thought can be expressed through vocal expressions, that is vak, or actions. Actions are nothing but a mudra, sculpture, paintings. If you go outside, these all virtually express something. Gestures, all these things. So we are very well versed with Natya Shastra. In India, we have both of the things. Natya Shastra, Silpa Shastra, all these things, mime, all these things comes here. And chitra, I mean painting. Whereas here, we have proper writing, we have sutras, very formula kind of thing. We have proper poems, shlokas, everything we mastered here also. And we also mastered here with the Shad Darsanas, all the philosophical things. So we are enriched. We are ready to uplift human being by these things. That's the Vedic tradition, Vedic Sanatana Dharma. So Vedic way of sacred speech is Shabdadvaita. So in Indian linguistics, like great people, there are Vararuchi and Bhartruhari and Spotayana, Agastya, many people, they did this Shabda Spota theorem. That is simple things like there are Varna Spota, for each utterance also you should properly spell also consciously, internal and outside, and you should have Trikarana Shuddhi. Padaspota, Padaspota is each grammatically correct padam, dhatus and all. Vakya spota, grammatically correct sentence, like then only you speak, otherwise don't speak. That's what the Spota theorem. So this is a basis for even debates also. For example, Buddhist, Jainist, and some sects of India like Sankhya, Mimamsa, Vaiseshika, there are 6, and Charvak, all these things when we are discussing, they took this as basis. The language should be proper. Otherwise, whatever you are speaking, you are debating on the truth, seeking the truth. The language should be proper. In that basis, the Shabdadvaita came into limelight. So the Varna Spota should be there, Pada Spota should be there, Vakya Spota should be there. When you are dividing that, you should properly exhibit your meaning, what you are exactly trying to say, are trying to explain something. That is called Spotavada. So this Spotavada is the basis for many things. Even Abhinavagupta wrote many things on resonance, and Natya Shastra. All these things are depending. They are interlinked. All these things are interlinked. Tantra, even our, only we say nowadays Vedanta means only Advaita Vedanta, Vishishtadvaita, 3 things. They are only tip of the iceberg. We've forgotten almost thousands of the traditions in our Vedic way. So those all deeper blue sea kind of things. These all Spotavada, all these things we've forgotten. These all related to that. So based on that, we have Vakya Spota, Pada Spota, all these things in the micro level, as well as for every mudra, akara mudra for varna level and for pada level is they are exhibiting something representation that masya is a word, and then they enact something vakyam, and then sanchari. That this all normally depends on that. Rasasiddhi is rasasiddha is spota. Whatever you are trying to say, whether it reached that or not. That's why we say God as raso vaisaha. So whatever things Pashyanti state, it goes and reaches there. That is called sankalpa siddhi. That is the basis of our Spotavada, and it is again linked to aksharams only. Aksharams are very important for everything. That's why in Spota Leads Rasa, there is a famous shloka in Nandikeswara Abhinaya Darpana. There is a great book on Natya Shastra. Yato hastas tato drustihi, yato drustis tato manaha, yato manas tato bhavaha, yato bhavas tato rasaha. Angikam bhuvanam yasya vachikam sarvavangmayam. So this Nataraja's thing is Angikam Bhuvanam. His entire body is the entire universe. Yasya Vachikam Sarva Vangmayam. Whatever he is going to utter is Sarva Vangmayam. Whatever spoken by the entire world. Aharyam Chandra Taraditam Numas Satvikam Shivam. Either Shivam is either the great God. That's what it says. Yato hastas tato drustihi. Wherever your hand, there is your eye contact, means your drusti. So that actually says that is called bhavastato rasaha, that is rasa. So you immerse, and that is Trikarana triangle, Trikarana Suddhi. That's why Akshara system is basis for entire Hindu Sanatana Dharma. It is not just a linguistic aspect, it's a complete solution to human beings' liberation. It guides through Pratyaksha Pramana. Very important thing is, we are not talking about something God is there on the heavens somewhere. We are not talking about anything with the Sabda Pramana or bookish knowledge. We are not talking about anything with something. But here, Aksharams, you understood the science behind that. There is a science, and there is a science also. You have a breath, you have birthright. There is a so-hum also going on. So going inside and observe, that is our problem, problem and our solutions. There is a tool, there is a tantra, we need to practice and we can prove it. So there it is depending on the Pratyaksha Pramana. That's what this session about the Paravidya. Now after this, I just wanted to go to next topics, very important thing, applications of Akshara, and then there's a current problems and solutions for that. Next session is next topic is applications and influence of Akshara. Aksharams are Paravidya. There's a big influence that we know, and physical level, it touched not just a spiritual aspect. It touched many areas of our Indian life. Indian in the sense greater Indian life, that arena where we have now greater India. Also the traditions, Buddhist tradition. I'm including all Indic religious beliefs also, and non-religious beliefs also, non-religious thought processes also, like other debates and all, like there is Charvak, other Siddhantas also again influenced by this. So it spread everywhere. And also Saptaswaras, like I'm giving some examples now. You know, the Saptaswaras of classical music have Sa to Na, Shadjam, Sarigama Padanisa. You know that Sa is, they have some meaning. Shadjama, Rishabha, like that up to Nishada. So the first letters are based on Aksharams only. It's not A, B, C, D is the tradition, the Latin tradition. Like that we also have that. Sa to Ga, Sarigama Padanisa. So that we should be knowing. And next is Aryabhatta enumeration, Katapayadi system, foundation for poetic excellence. And briefly, I'll explain this. This is Katapayadi system. Katapayadi system is not Katapaya. What they did was they gave some numbers to each aksharam, ka 1 like that, and anka, like we always depends on the decimal system. So what we Dhira Sankara Abharanam, if we say for the and ra, there are some the ra 9 2, ra is 2, like Dhira. So Dhira is 92. But as per our tradition, we write from left to right. sorry, right to left, because tens place is in right. From there we calculate. There's a sutra for that. Ankanam Vamato Gatihi. So it is 29. 29th Melakarta Raga. So they used each aksharam with some number, and this Katapayadi system used by not only music, in Aryabhatta enumeration also he used for astronomical distances. They used for encryption. They say something in a sloka that has some number meaning, like that. And there's a lot of things that usages. This is the Melakarta Raga system. After that you need to do something, then you can understand Kanakangi, Ratnangi, all these things are ragas, 72 ragas. Like that we is a Melakarta chakra that also use aksharams. And this is Aryabhatta enumeration. For mathematical calculations, or I mean to say astronomical calculations, you use this number system. Ka is 1, and for Gunita he uses the Gunita A, I, U, Ru, Ka. So ka he uses this 10 power 0, 10 power 2, like that. So it goes ka chata tapa 1 2 3 4 5, it goes like that. Ya is 30. From there 30 40 50 60 100 it starts. So he says one sutram, small padam in the sense ya e or something. Ya e is nothing but it is equivalent to that big number. So he represented that calculations between earth and all these things, whatever, like astronomical, with small aksharams. That is Aryabhatta enumeration. He used aksharams for that. And Bhuta Sankhya system, mapping words with number. For example, they say Akshi. Aksha is 2, only 2 eyes. So Aksha is to represent number 2, they say Aksha. And to say something 6, they say Rutu, 6 Rutus. Rishi, Saptarshi. There is another system, Bhuta Sankhya system. Aksharpali system is Aksharpali is nothing but you need to actually map numbers with some aksharams. That is Ankapali system, and they use for indexing and pagination. Now we use 1 2 3 4 for pages. Previously we use some numbers, some small au, a, I, cha, like that. So they used to index. And Madhava sign, for example, sign 3.1415, this many till these digits, they represent it in a small slokam, one line. This is also used as encryption. Bhadram Buddhi. If they say this sloka is converted to Katapayadi or some Aksharpali system, depends on their region, and they used to transfer messages. This is another system. Like that, they use for different scientific usages. And next thing is linguistic diversity, grammars, vocabularies, dictionaries, prosody, also influenced by aksharams only, because these already we discussed in the first slide. We have a lot of classical languages. They have 2000 years history. All those languages in northern India, there are Prakruta, Pratishaktya, and here in southern India, Vodra, Tamil Nadu, Sangam literature, and Kadamba, there's Kannada. In Kerala, we have Manipravalam, Andhra, actually Tamil Nadu, Andhra, sorry, Telangana till Maharashtra actually. Maharashtra also have Marathi Prakrutam is coincidence. There's some overlapping with this Telugu. So these are all classical languages. Gada Saptasati and all Halas Gada Saptasati is a Prakruta book. So these are all classical languages. They have proper maturity, linguistic. For this, the reason is the aksharams, and also I'll explain about Chitra Kavitas. Chitra Kavitas are very, very interesting things. Only with Na you can tell a sloka also, only with some Voshya, Nirosya, all these things are possible because of the great grammarians like Panini. Panini is only one grammarian, is well known to the world, but lot of people before Panini itself, there is Spotayana and his Raudhi, his maternal uncle. He explained about 32 more than some tens of people's names in his sutra. And also Patanjali wrote Mahabhasha, great commentary on Sanskrit verse. He wrote something. And also there are other languages related also. Vedic Sanskrit, we have a lot of things, a lot of the phonetics And the main thing is etymology, sorry. Yaska Nirukta is a famous thing. Yaska Nirukta is very, very famous. For the first dictionary for the entire world is Yaska Nirukta. Well-known thing. Before also there was many people, etymologists. And this Prakruta Prakasha is a great book by Vararuchi. Why I'm giving here this, I'm stressing on this is, he actually protected a lot of vernacular languages, not Vedic Sanskrit or just Sanskrit. Because of these great books, this is the first effort to do the comparative linguistics. What is other languages are speaking, what Sanskrit is teaching, it is Laukika, and what Vedic Veda Shakas are speaking. He divided them, and he created a great, he established great harmony between these things. And also India, because of India, like this Brahmi traveled from here and it almost reached entire globe. From here, Pallava script went, and for Thailand, all these places, whatever Javanese and all, influenced by Sri Lankan Sinhalese and all. Siddham went here, and Devanagari, whatever we are using, are influenced in Northern India, but both are same. Please don't think that it is Aryan and Dravidian again, all are same, but scripts are different. Like Telugu script is different, Kannada is, there's similarity is there, but Malayalam is again Grandha script, that is a little bit different, but Aksharams are same. So they took Brahmi script as a basis and they changed Kharoshti and Persia also there is some Lipi, Sumerian script, that is called Bana Lipi, that is also related to, so even graphemes also created by this Akshara only influenced. So this entire thing is Akshara Khandam only. This is another influence, linguistic influence. Now we should be knowing that people are saying Abuguda. The system as Abuguda system. This is just alphabetic naming convention only for one. Actually, this should be called as Akshara system, but modern linguistics they're calling as Abuguda system because of some reasons. Alpha, beta, gamma, delta, Bu, U, D. So they're actually added that and they branded Abuguda, not Akshara. So these things should be corrected. So all these languages are Akshara languages, not Abuguda languages or not Abuguda scripts. So these should be, keep on, we need to know, and first of all, we should know this rather than talking and changing some other thing. First as Akshara native speakers or writers, we should be knowing this. This is Akshara language. And this influenced Chitra Kavitas also. Chitra Kavita is nothing but, for example, palindrome. Palindrome, Sarvato Bhadra is one kind of structure. Sarvato Bhadra is Deva. This one, if you reverse it, De, Va, Ka. So it has a meaning. Like that, they used to produce Sarvato Bhadra related some shlokas. And also, Kirata Arjuna is great by Bharavi. He written only with na, something. It goes and only with Nakara. And there are different Chitra Kavitas. Chala Jihva, Achala Jihva. Means Pappa Babbama is Voshtya. Only you need to use Pappa Babbama. You should not use any other thing. That's called Voshtya. Niroshtya is not, don't use Pappa Babbama, use other things. Chala Jihva is inside, for Tatta Daddana, all these things. Jihva means tongue will move. So that's called Chala Jihva. Achala Jihva is don't move your tongue. Only select those kind of aksharams and produce. So this much mature, literature we had, that is also based, that's also by grace of aksharams only. If you try to use alphabet or anything, ABCD, you can't do that. That's the power of aksharam, Brahmi script. Aksharam, you have any consonant, then you mix that vowel inside that and you create a matra. Matra is nothing but how many seconds you utter. So there's a proper science and proper division. So you can create alankara for that, either shabda alankara or artha alankara, meaning as well as the rhythm. For example, I'll tell you one small Telugu poem. Jatilundu ketiketam pandlu koriki hummani katam bola. The takara is again coming. So this kind of thing, jata, kata, all these things are can be viewed properly and the proper like beauty because of the aksharams. Same way we have different type of thing. I'm just giving one slide. We have hundreds of different aspects for this. This Chitra Kavita. Chitra Kavita is, so Indians, aksharams are the root for Indian culture. Aksharams are used in the Vastu Shastra. Akaradi Vargeshu, there is a Vargas, Vastu Vargas are there. For that also they use aksharams. And you know, for astrology we use aksharams. For each nakshatra I have Chuche, Chola, this thing, and these Padams and all. There also we are using Jyotisha. Akshara Matruka Stotras are for Akara, for Atuksha you write slokams for your god. Either Gopala Krishna or Shiva or anybody. You write, and that is another kind of Antarmatrika Nyasa only. And also there is Akshamalika Upanishad. Normally Akshamala from in Saraswati goddess. Akshamala means Atuksha Mala only, 50, and one is the Meru. So Akshamalika Upanishad is there. And also there is an Andikesha Kashika talks about each aksharam and how it maps to the creation. And importantly, from our birth to death, we have the samskaras. So from birth to death, we have samskara, and we have proper alignment, proper planning in our tradition. Same way, Akshara Abhyasa also very important. From childhood, in the childhood, they start the Akshara Abhyasa, and it is also it's a sign. It's a just symbolism. The aksharams will start we guard us from our Akshara Abhyasa state to death with proper, in spiritually as well as in materialistic world. That is the significance of this Akshara. That's why what I say is aksharams are the true representation of Bharatiyam. Bharatiyam is nothing but harmony, knowledge. Bha-rata. Bha means knowledge. Rata means who likes the knowledge. Bha-rata. Bhava, raga and tala. These three things which are very harmony and self-realization and peace. This is Bharatiyam. Aksharams also two representations to that. So we need to actually regard Bharatamata as aksharams are synonymous. This is the influence of Akshara. And now very important thing is there are a lot of problems to aksharams nowadays which we are not recognizing. This much it is influenced, the aksharams influenced this much, but it is the root, there is a foundation. That's why we can't see the impact on that, because in your mansion somebody throw a stone on your glass door, it will break, and then you will utter that. That is language level or some level, the religious level. But the foundations are aksharams. If somebody breaking there, you are not able to sense. Those problems we'll discuss here. Biodiversity and linguistic diversity, they are related. Linguistic diversity are more languages. Biodiversity is more people, different plants, animals, all these things, flora and fauna. As per the new studies, some research, linguistic diversity is influencing biodiversity. Not biodiversity is influencing linguistic. Also, linguistic diversity has influence on biodiversity. That's why linguistic diversity was celebrated in India. Matanga Rishi Abhradesi is a great music book. Yatha, like he's saying, sthana, different sthanas, geographical locations, different sounds will be produced, different vocabularies will be produced, languages. Then he divided into Marga and Desi, two types of musical systems. And Desi is for the Janapadas and Marga is proper, Sangeet, the classical musicians. So we took care of everyone. So that is linguistic diversity is celebrated here. Biodiversity, what impact we have biodiversity. For example, there are a lot of Ayurvedic and related herbs and all. We don't know those names because we don't know the language. So after that, the flora fauna will die. That's what they research. And minerals will go away, animals are going away. They like Gill and Badawai folk medicine or 8,000 plant names, and they are coming through oral tradition. All these things are gone. They are not protecting, they are not taking care, and even the plants also vanishing from there. It's a miraculous thing happening. So there is a link between linguistic and biodiversity. Communities, small languages, still there in India because of this kind of mindset, Vedic mindset, where you have multiple languages have proper foundations, aksharams. It actually helps all languages, but it is integrating as well as creating mutual respect. the main threat nowadays is official defective orthography. What is defective orthography is lack of characters to represent all phonemes in the phonemic distinction of the language. For example, my official language is something. Official language can be anything. It can be enforced by the financial situation, commercial situation, or the political oppression, anything. That language is lack of, it's not providing proper phonetics or phonemes, then it's called defective orthography. One example, writing itself is a small chunk. We already discussed ours is Shruti Vidya, because human speech, whatever you listen, if you remember and if you practice, is always powerful. If you're trying to write that, it takes time. You know, memory buffer, reading, writing, there's a concept in computer science also. For example, CPU works very fastly, trying to give that instruction, but memory is slowly writing, then they put a buffer in between. Same way, writing is always slow. And again, understanding it and reading is very slow. That's why they created Shruti-based, powerful, high-scale learning system in India, Vedic system. So human speech, when you're writing, it is very less. Again, when you're writing in an ASCII keyboard, which has very, very less letters, like for example, alphabetic keyboard, again, it is prone to a lot of mistakes. This is happening nowadays. For example, if you try to write, so any example, I'm taking European language names, they are actually changed. They lost their originality. Same way here, if you say München, it became Munich. Same thing, like, you know, Rajamahendravaram became Rajamundry. Trichirapalli became Trichy. So they're losing their original, you know, thing, and slowly ancestral thing will go away. And this is not just here on internet nowadays. We are using this much content on English. Is a defective orthography in English, because we can't write everything in English. Alphabetic, I meant to say, not the language. By language, English is powerful. It has a lot of vocabulary, borrowed words from different, you know, Latin or nice languages imported. But I'm talking of the phonetic system, and alphabetics are defective. So when you try to write, there's a lot of content. There is no Indian language related content here. You can observe. And this is 2020 related. This is older one. So you can see English, Chinese, all these things are more on the internet arena. We are not writing anything. So when you search something, you don't get. So, and also mother tongue, big languages, English, French are big languages, and then this is a pyramid actually. Local vernacular languages here. So biodiversity means preserving these languages. It is only possible if this official or the orthography is like Akshara, then you can preserve dictionaries and all. If it is not that, slowly, things will go wrong. These are all the challenges. Broader challenges are there, that this is not our current discussion, but normally all these phonemes and all, non-Indic speech, listening, those things also, we lose dharana, focus and all. This is not purely related to this topic, but indirectly related. Same phonemes and all, you need to keep on listen. If you are in an English non-Indian mother tongue setup, if you are not listening, whatever you are listening, that will actually go and you try to mimic. Same kind of raga. Each language has some raga. That raga will come. You may, if human being practices multiple ragas in his childhood, multiple ragas means multiple language related rhythm patterns, then he can talk anything. But that is not actually taught formally in education system. Because of that, you may lose your non-Indic. Now our focus is Akshara versus alphabet. Main threat is now we are writing all our Aksharams in limited keyboard. For example, sa, sa, sha, we have yes. Ta, ta, you have T. Ta, tha, again TH we are writing. This is by grace of Madras Presidency, Britishers, and that's why they put mainly in Southern Indian languages, they write T and ta and ta, we write TH is for ta, T for ta. What about tha? Tha, you can't write. So these are a lot of, there's a lot ambiguity here. D and the. For the, you use D only. The and dha use dh only. Na, na, na. In Tamil there is na also. That is also n. Ra, ra, and karagam. That is also la, la. All these things really is. So if you write Shruti in any language, in our Akshara script, that's okay. But we know everyone are fighting nowadays. This called, I named it as, it's actually intangible thing. Everyone, they say my spelling is this, S-H-R-U-T-H-I, R-U-T-H-I, or R-I-T-H-I, or T-I, or T-H-I, or S-H, or S-U. Only because of we are using this in English. It is not our problem. Shraddha and Shraddha. R-A-M-A and R-A-M-A is Rama or Rama. We don't, it's masculine and physical gender. This much difference. So this is a big study actually, but it's ignored. So we are not using any standard ISO. There's a standard we're not using, but we're just typing in keyboard, which is limited keyboard. And also next one is very interesting thing, spelling system of English. English is, it is known to even great people. Famous English wanted to improve their English spelling system. Benjamin Franklin, Charles Darwin, many people, but because it after printing era, it just propagated, error propagation happened. Unfortunately, these spellings via other languages are inheriting. Akshara has no problem with spelling. Whatever you do, whatever you utter, you write. But other languages, that's defective orthography, has that flaw we are inheriting. For example, C and K in English is inherited from French and Latin. But since they are not in authority and they did not think about this phonetics and all, they don't have properly maturity, they kept the C and K and CAT cat. Also they use K for something, and they started writing dictionaries. Printing press came, it propagated. They couldn't change them afterwards. They kept as it is. And then they started spellings. For example, Kaiser, K-E-I-Z-E-R. Kaiser is the correct one, but C-A-I-Z-E-R, somebody says Caesar also. So the circus, like that, error propagation expanded. But unfortunately, these artificial spellings, PUT put and BUT, but we are inheriting. For example, I observed Anand. Here somebody, some kid or some elders, they're writing Anand, A-N-A-D, Anand. No, he's saying AU is the correct one. You should write AU. I didn't understand what is AU, because A afterwards, second U is normally spoken as A. NU, there is a station here in Melbourne that's Nanavading. Even one American, he came and he is uttering as Nunavading. That's not Nunavading, that's Nanavading. So same thing here in Aboriginal names. Mujagu, actually that Mugajagu, and any other native speaker, he comes, they say Najagu, Najagu, Najaju, you don't know. So it goes on like that, and finally it reaches to a place where actual phoneme will be destroyed. This is happening Akshara also. In India, we are using Hunterian standard, which is very old standard, where still we use D for both the things. And we are not still using, and also we leave the governance part, even normal common people also from education system, we don't have awareness of all these things. And this is about the mutual respect and self-respect, because we have a lot of history. We discussed about the Paravidya, all these things, but we are failing at this level. A great history, but it's not useful, then there is no use at all. This is about Akshara versus alphabet. Indian setup. In Indian setup, there is no distinction between grapheme and phoneme. People are thinking phoneme is different. Phoneme and grapheme are different. If somebody say Aksharams, Telugu people, they think Telugu Aksharam, Telugu script. They think Hindi script is different. And they think, then I started explaining to one person like, A in Telugu and A in Kannada are same, but the grapheme is different. The art is different. So this is called grapheme. Grapheme is the way you write that font. Phoneme is a representation, how you utter. Ours is a phonematic and also Shruti Vidya, but we just map to one some painting. That is not there in other alphabetic traditions. There's a tightly coupling between grapheme and phoneme. That one thing prone to the counting letters superstition. We already discussed in previous session, there is a sutra based learning system where you utter sutras and learn. But here counting letters superstition is C, K, 1, 2, 3, 4, 26, 27. This is counting letters superstition. This wearing alphabetic glasses in the digital printing. This is one problem with Indian setup. And next thing is, already I discussed Abhuguda. Just we are typing Abhuguda, Abhuguda. Why Abhuguda? Akshara, why it is not, we are not doing any research. Just we are typing. And from the books, we just code that and say there's Abhuguda. And sutra system versus alphabetic systems. Easy to learn pathway sutra systems, but we are ignoring that. Still, we are following this. Lack of harmony, Indophobia. It's very important nowadays. Indophobia or Hinduphobia or Vedic phobia, I can't say, because any language are independent of religion or sect or any ism. But if you attach any ism or anything to language or phonetics, there's a problem. So you should not actually attach those things with any language. So we should have scientific discussion, but unfortunately, aksharams and also there's the next thing I'm going to explain, purism without logic and scientific temper. Purism means, for example, my language is very pure, my letters are very pure, ancient. I need to preserve that, but other languages are different, aksharams. But if I'm trying to explain aksharams or kachata tapa, they are same, but graphemes are different. People won't talk about the logic and scientific temper behind that. They go based on the purism. This is pure, and the other thing is about sect. This is attached to sect, and the other thing is related to. This is related to some ism, Hinduism or some Bharatiya related. So it is a traditional, it is very old. So we should not. Otherwise, we won't be called as secularist. So this kind of mindset is there, but language and the science is always sect agnostic. That's not there in current date. That should be solved. Otherwise, this aksharams unification process won't happen. This is another challenge. Illogical diversity policies diminish the diversity. Weeds plant analogy. I already explained. See, there's a nice garden. There we have biodiversity. All plants should be grown properly. In that great garden, if one plant is trying to swallow all other things, then as per the diversity policies or procedures, if we are not controlling one plant which is actually invading others, then it is problem to entire diversity. This should be noted. This is happening because of that. In some northeastern states of India, some of the they are not using Akshara script and all. They are using some other thing, and it's creating problem. Slowly, what happens is those tribal-related vocabularies, all these dictionaries will be diminished afterwards. This is problem to lot of communities. It's our main intention is harmony and peace. So everybody should, all the language should live. Every community should live. That is the main mantra of aksharams. And next thing is more aksharam letters with easy learning system needed to protect, like harmony and linguistic diversity. Very importantly, we need to have more aksharams. More aksharams is very good, not less aksharams. And removing aksharams is another thing. Some in Telugu, we are actually removed l. L is a very, very important aspect. Little asanam dantya. For that sutram, it is a pointer. For that purpose, very thoughtfully they put. Since we don't know the sutrams, we are actually cutting short those things. And also Maheshwar Sutras. As per Maheshwar Sutras, we are actually have that sequence. Then R is coming because I-un, Rulik, A-om. That one they took and they put that sequence. And if you take the based on the Varnotpatisthanam, A, E, then R, L, U. This is the sequence. If you know the secrets behind that, however you change, however you can understand that. But what is happening is R, Lu, or they're comparing with the normal Lu and Ru, even though they use differently, and they're removing that. Why if they remove 2000 years literature, all these things related are dying. Now you can't type. I can't type now, Lu. and also you can't preserve them. It is just as maybe it's ignorance or it's a strategy to just bypass the ancient literature and all. We don't know, but all the literature should be preserved. Means Vedic and also folk related, all the things should be preserved. That is the actual harmony means. That's not happening. So we should keep again that lu as part of the Aksharodhyama. That's what we wanted to request. We need to keep them. That is, if that is possible, that would be great. Because of that, what I'm doing is I'm teaching some extended Akshara frame like chart. For example, this is it has Tamil letters also. It has everything, Farsi letters, everything. But easily teaching based on the Akshara Samanvayam Sutras. Mainly, I'm focusing on Telugu people, and I'm just trying to explain this from R to E, all these things. R, Lu also added, and also added Fa, Farsi Fa, and Ra, Karagams, Tamil also added, La, all the things here. Sa. So I'm trying to explain how much easily we can learn and preserve those things, and also we can extend them and write anything in the world. So it will actually create very interesting thing to kids also. Easily they can learn. That's why I say this as Akshara Ujjamam or Akshara Satyagraham. It is nothing but telling the truth, telling the science behind the Aksharam to everyone. This is the Surya, Aksharodhyama Aditya. He actually does nothing. He says Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya. Whatever. He just lights the lamp, tell the truth about Aksharam, and say, if it is there's a truth, please believe, otherwise don't believe. It's Pratyaksha Pramana. Is nothing here. It's believe something. So that is Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya. Asatoma Sadgamaya. Asat means which is not correct. Sat is the truth. From Asat to Sat, it goes. The Akshara is actually nothing but Akshara brings us to truth. That's the atomic truth of Akshara. That is called Akshara Udyama. Udyama is rising. And Akshara Satyagraha is just with truth we are explaining, we are teaching. Main motto of this is incarnation of harmony. Aksharam or the incarnation of harmony. Respect them as mother. Propagate Akshara science to every Bharatiya by Navo Navo Bhavati Jayamano concept. Navo Navo Bhavati Jayamana is Nava is 9. 9 always produce numbers. 3 plus 6, again 9. Nava is, again, new came from Nava one, Neo and new. Every time it is new. So we need to teach these Akshara secrets, whatever I explained, to 9 people. Request them to teach further 9. Give credits to Vedic Rishis, not like have patent rights or something. Somebody, they created Aksharam Kachatadapa, they created from P. Now they became big institution in the world and they're creating, they're generating revenue. Not that. You give credits to Rishis. So that one thing, and add the removed letters like Vedic phonetics and lot of ancient scriptures are depending on this. Use them scientifically and keep them back. Avoid using the limited alphabet. Use proper ISO. Some standards are there. ISO 15919 is a standard. For example, I'll give an example and I conclude the session. There is a software, Baraha. This is one of the softwares like this Baraha. You can type anything, Kannada, all the scripts in India. Here, for example, I'm typing here. I'm typing Telugu. Afterwards, I'll type in Devanagari also. Akkada, what I'll do is tools. I'm going to convert to ISO 15919. Akkada. For example, Rama and Rama. Just convert this now. RME and till is Rama. Rama. Krishna. This is Krishna. You can see now how it is in ISO standard. K, R, and there is a circle down. S dot N dot Sha Na R. Krishna. then you don't need to fight KRI or KRU. North Indians and South Indians, they fight on KRI or KRU also. It's a R, is just half matra. No need to add U or I. These all normally, like when we talk about all these things and show, everything will be sorted out. This is Krishna. Like that, we can actually convert. This is ISO 15991 standard. This standard is internationally recognized standard for all the South Asian languages, even Simhalis also. That we can use. If you don't have that keyboard, what you can do is, there's a Harvard Kyoto standard. In Harvard Kyoto, you can actually write something like Rama, you can write R-A-M-A. No, there is no need to go for the initial capitalization rule. That is only for English. If your name has some meaning or respect, please no need to follow that. Small r, capital A, M-A, Rama. Same way you can write D capital is da and small d is the. This Harvard Kyoto standard. Like that, lot of where you don't have the diacritics. Diacritics is nothing but the extra characters you add on the top of or down the character, that is diacritics. That is ISO 50919. ISO 50991 is also proposing like ASCII. ASCII is nothing but simple keyboard related. That is also you can use. For example, Jiva, J-I-I-V-A, Jiva. Or you can write J-I-V-A, Jiva, like that. So you can use that and start writing. So slowly you can actually start something. This is the meaning of the last one, that is avoid using the limited alphabet and protect Aksharams. Very importantly, Aksharam has left some life. It's not just a linguistic as something. It is actually protecting us from childhood to our end of life. It is properly connected to our self-realization process also. That's why we need to protect our Aksharams. My request is please join me and teach this to 9 people. So and enjoy the Aksharams, the essence of beauty. That's what I wanted to say. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Swasti.
I think it's a good round of applause. We need a good round of applause for Mameshwar Garu. It's brilliant, really brilliant. It is eye-opening is just a small word to say that what you have done in this one. It opens up so many things, not just the para and apara as well. Both you opened up both the worlds for us, right? It's really good. So I open now the floor to the any questions if you have. I got a lot of questions, but I'll let others know.
I'll go first.
Yeah, please go ahead.
So much, Umamaji. I mean, this is really excellent. You've done a lot of effort and explained a lot of things. You connected a lot of things. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
One thing that that kind of came when you were saying about Trikarana, right? Mano, Buddhi, Vakka, and then when you combine these three, then only you will they start the you connect the dot. Maybe that is when we do Achamanam, Om Keshavaya Swaha, you are doing Kriya. You're also putting Manasu, right?
Yeah.
Right. That's why probably one of the reason why every Vedic ritual starts with this Achamanam could be one of what you mentioned, right? So that's what kind of came to my mind.
Exactly. Yes, sir. And there are tantric Achamanams also. Atma Tattvam, Vijjadattvam, and Shiva Tattvam. Means me and the connecting force and the ultimate. So goes there and they do same Trikaranas. Yeah, exactly. Whatever you said is correct.
Yeah, so Manobuddhi, we do that. We all start all the Vedic rituals with that Achamanam. Maybe one of the reasons where we are opening up and then starting the ritual. The other thing I have one, sincere request maybe is this is really vast knowledge. Probably if we can get this into short films or something like that, it would be very useful for the next generations, right? There's a lot of science, there's a lot of usefulness, there are a lot of application.
Sure, sir.
I'm not sure if we can start some, crowdsourcing or something like that. Start to create a short film, right, for the knowledge that you and research that you should get, right? This would be very useful for everyone. This makes me feel proud of what our ancestors and forefathers did, right? And this is amazing. When I'm learning Vedam, I can see some of these things, bits and pieces, but when you're explaining things, it dots so well. So I think we need to have some, film or something like that
Sure, sir. Definitely. Yeah.
Great idea. Yes, sure. Sure. Who wants to go next? Yeah, please. Sivagar.
Namaskaram andi, na peru Sivaya.
Yes, sir.
I should speak in English, sorry.
Yeah, please.
In Telugu, we have these aksharas, kshatra, jna.
Yeah.
They seem to be samyukta aksharam and not really the actual aksharam.
Yeah.
Why did we do that?
Yeah. See, that is very thoughtful thing. Like from A to Ha, normally explained by varnas or aksharams, and from there Sha is the ending point. Like in previous session, I explained the last slide. Sha also has some meaning. Tra actually from Tra, Tra, Gna, all these things are conjugate ligators. Normally, we also can write with K, and there is a in Devanagari there is a dot under there, and Sha. Also you can write both, mix them, and you can write this. Explaining from Ksha, you need to follow the Sandhi rules and the mixing two varnas and producing new thing. That's why they symbolically they put that Ksha. Tra, Gna are different combinations of Gna is two anunasikas, mixing two anunasikas. That is one example. Shri also you write, sometimes somebody they write Shri also. Kshatra, Gna, all these things are examples for that. That's why from alphabetic mindset tradition, we should not count that as this many letters we have. Sha is not a letter. From A, E, U are short vowels. Based on sutra, you need to say A, Tirga, Hasva, Pluta. Like that, they keep on, they build, and A and E, Ye Daito Kantatalu, that sutram will give you Ye I, and Odauto Kantostam, Wo Au, like that they come and they say Visarga, and also Anuswara, Ardhanuswara means Ardhasunna, all these things they come, and then Kachata Tapas is produced by the sutrams, the Varnotpatisthana Sutram, and finally Ksha. From Ksha, the Sandhi Prakaranam will start. Sandhi Prakaranam is mixing two varnas. So there is a meaning in Kshatra Gna. It is not to by heart, to understand what is actually Tra Gna. Gna is the Anunasika of end Ka and Ini. The Ka and Chas endpoints you mix both and you show explain to the kids. For that purpose, they are.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you. If I may ask one more question, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
You were showing us the Baraha pad.
Yeah.
How do we get hold of that? Suppose I want to write some Telugu on the computer.
Yeah, Baraha software is a free software. You can download and that's a good software. But they are not. I don't know. Like they need to produce on mobile devices also. But as of now, you can install it. I think 2,500 Indian rupees or something for permanent license. Free version also you can download. That is also there. Baraha.com, I think.
Baraha.com.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Yeah.
On mobiles, we have all the keyboards from Google or from Samsung. Of course, you've got Android. If you've got Samsung phone, Samsung has got its own.
Yeah.
But I think some of the words are missing in there. Like,
Ru and circle is missing.
And Gha is also, it's not, there's no line under the Gha.
Yeah. Yes. What I'm doing is yes, and there is a till, small till. Sha I'm writing, but yeah, I actually started emailing to these people like Google and all to produce ISO 15991 standard keyboard and all.
Right.
That is another effort. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Anyone else? Okay.
Oh, sorry, Rajendra, sorry. If nobody is asking, I have to ask one more question.
Yeah, go ahead. I got several, but you can go up first.
Okay. Just they say some of the sages are able to read our mind. Suppose we are in front of them and we want to ask something, even without us asking, they can read our thoughts and answer the question. is it that, they are connecting to us at a Pasyanti level and say that we have a desire to do something and immediately they know this is their desire?
Yeah. They say that Vishwambhara Prajna, they say the name of that is Vishwambhara Prajna. Means, it is, it's like sensing eyes. If you are honest and keep on, if you observe something, it automatically comes. It's Pashyanti state only, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
That's called Vishwambhara Prajna as per the Tantra Yoga books.
Okay, thanks, yeah. Please go ahead, Raju.
Oh, yeah, Radhakrishna, please.
Ritambara Prajna.
Firstly, Namaste, Momesh Garu. It has been extremely eye-opening, both the sessions. Both the sessions went so fast with so much of information that our retention, I have found it hard to retain even 5-10% of what you have said. I try to take notes, but there's a lot there. So my questions are this. I'm just like Rajguru, I've got several questions, but I'll just ask two. Firstly, whatever we have done so far, there is a lot that needs to be given to the academic institutions as well as linguistic, the universities that teach linguistics. Is there any movement or is there any action by which this is being propagated into the academic section where linguistics are being taught here in Australia or in India for that matter? Is the Akshara Udyamam still at its very nascent infant state? That's my first question.
Yes. I have been talking about this in different. I just started mainly in Andhra Pradesh now, and some of the other places. I'm distributing book and talking to people. I'm talking to head of the department as well as in the different conferences. Some of the people are interested, and they're mainly not education institutions, but for example, some of the great institutions like Rishipeetam and all. Those people are coming and they're changing however they type, they're using the ISO standard and all. But education institutions, still there is inertia. I need to reach to the correct people, policymakers.
So there is a lot of work that needs to happen. The Satyagraha has to build quite a bit, and we can all help in that somehow.
Yes.
That's what needs to be brainstormed and.
Exactly.
Okay. One other question. Now, Shabda Vyutpatti, or when you talk about pronunciation, intonation, enunciation, all that stuff. One of that is in Sanskrita. They say Samyakrutena iti Sanskritaha. Similarly, say Mananat Trayate iti Mantraha. And you said one thing about Tantra as well.
Yeah.
So these phrases are self-explanatory of the word, which actually is an anagram, sort of, in Sanskrit.
Yeah.
How does one learn that? What teaches us that?
There is a Nirukta Shastra for that. For each word, there is a dictionary kind of thing. Padakosha, Paniniya, Dhatu Patam, all these things. They talk about all these things. Yes. So traditionally, if you learn, you will touch base on all sutrams and then Vyakaranam. Then they explain the Dhatu Patam. It goes like a Shruti Vidya day. Every day you chant and learn, memorize and understand. But that is missing normally. Yeah.
So basically, if you want to learn, sorry, Rajguru, one more last question.
No, go ahead.
Yeah. So basically, if one wants to learn this properly, Akshara Vijnanam, then the source is to go and learn Sanskrit, or is there a particular subject in Sanskrit?
Phonetics. I actually took different sutrams and created these my book Akshara Vinyasa Rising, as well as all these presentations. My plan is to send all these things as ebook to everyone. The sutrams from Paniniya Siksha and Paniniya Astadhyayi and some Pratisharkya and Siksha Granthas of Vedic phonetics. That's it. So Akshara Vijnanam is simple, but other things, influence of Akshara and other internals are from different books, Tantric and non-Vedic also.
Okay. Thank you very much. Again.
Yeah, non-Vedic means not from the Vedangas, but in the Vedic branch somewhere as a fruit or something. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Rajgaru, please.
No, that's all right. So I got few questions probably. You know, we have been when you look at when you want to learn Sanskrit, so when you look at the linguistics and all stuff, look at the history as well. One of the things that you look one of the you basically come across is there is a Sanskrit on one hand, and there's a Latin group of languages on the other hand, and there's something called a Proto-Indo-European languages, something there's a mythical thing where everything originated, and you know, and that's the whole thing, and that's what they say. How what's the truth in this? And is there any proto language at all?
Maybe the Proto-Indo-European language might be the Vedic literature only, I think. And probably that is in the literature which is no more existed, or it is existed as Rigvedic only. People went from here to there, or there's an Indian origin theorem, or they say that is coming from there, but all these things are, they added ism to everything, but truth is, Rigveda, the Vedic literature has key as well as the lock, both, but they have only key, not lock. Sorry,
Right.
I mean to say lock only, no key.
No, not the key. Yeah,
So,
right,
so I have everything. It is also a tradition followed here in India. So definitely it is systemized, and it's not a fluke. It just didn't come in one night and we got into this big state. So definitely origins are Vedic origins only.
Okay,
but
cool.
How it went there, it is expelled by, there's a Vratya and Patita. Normally, if you are not following the rites and all, people will be used to be expelled and all. So
Nature.
after some time, like, NRIs, they can't speak their mother tongues. Like that, they would have been contaminated. Maybe that's
Right.
that time.
So definitely you say that, so the counter to that would be that there is no influence of, let us say, non-Vedic aksharas on the Vedic aksharas.
Definitely, because Kachatatapa, for example, Kachatatapa is followed by Tamil also. Ka, ga, cha, ja. They follow same sequence. Why they are following same sequence? They would have done something like ABCD something. They are following Kachatatapa, and they are following also there's a grammar. Dhatu means how actually words are produced, how grammar is produced. End-to-end link here, but suddenly one part is missing, another part is there, means you've forgotten that part, you didn't study that part end to end, you didn't practice because you are not the owner. It means you've forgotten. So you went somewhere and you forgotten. But here, probably from here only, from Vedic system only they went and they forgotten.
Right. So is it the same reason why, but how do we explain that, let us say, again, they're coming back to that language families and everything, Dravidian languages seems to be different from the Indo-European languages. They have been classified as a branch on its own, like a Dravidian, like Telugu, Kannada, Tamil, and everything. So is it an artificial segregation, or is it got some really any?
It's a partial segregation, sir. That's what I'm thinking. I didn't do much research on that. From word level to construction level. My focus more on phonetics part, but definitely there is a partial research happened, not 100% research. Like there is not 100% research. It's just tagged something as per their convenience, and they left it, and afterwards that became a syllabus and people are reading. It's
Right.
not expanding. That's the problem there. It's not like science or medicine. It's not evergreen. It's not a stream that flowing at research. It's actually water stuck somewhere and people are using them. We need to refine.
And probably diving into a completely different question, like in our Raghuvamsa Kalidasa's first poem, where he this is the prayer mantra Vagardhavya Samvartao. He says Vak and Artha are just as Vak and Artha are indifferentiated, so as the Parvati and Shiva are indifferentiated. So that's what it goes, right? So when you say this Vak and Artha, what should we make that meaning of that Vak and Artha? We got these 4 levels, right? So in which level that Vak will come and which level will Ardha will come? Where is the difference?
Yeah, Madhyama level the Artha comes. Artha means every Vak will have Artha, definitely. Consciously or unconsciously, whatever we utter will have some meaning. But Sphota says, whatever you think, utter that. But whatever you're not thinking, if you're uttering, then partial Artha is attached with that. So normally, whatever Vak is produced outside, that has Artha, definitely. So Artha means anything, sorry. Vak means anything, not only just speech, it is an expression also. That expression, for example, one word and tonal, for example, tonal languages, every word will have different tones and different meanings also. So it is not grammatically one word, it is expression. Vak means expression, and that expression attached to some thought in the Madhyama level and desire level to Madhyama level. When you are changing that, transmitting its Vak, you will have some refinement or filter. So that depends on the fear factor or how to produce that in a nice terms and all that happens. But desire state Pashyanti is the actual Artha, and Vak, whatever should come, should reflect that as per this Sphota.
But the Pashyanti, usually the understanding would be the Pashyanti.
Yeah, like kids, they speak. Whatever they want, they speak. That is Vakar. What is Vakartha is that.
Vakartha is that. So just as you speak that it comes from Parapashyanti Majjhima Vaikhari, that goes as an manifests as an Vaikhari when it comes out. Is it in a reverse thing that happens when we listen to something? Like, is there any
mantra chanting? Mantra chanting, yeah. Keep on. If you chant mantra, it goes back, and then as per traditional like gurus and all, what they say is, when you're chanting any mantra, after some time, you will be spectator. Then you see somebody is chanting that, and then your observation will change to each unit of that mantra. You will observe that, and that will become macro level, and you see and spectate that, listen that happens. So that goes back, and breath will be controlled, and after breath controls slow, then you go to the Manasik state. Manasik state is your thoughts also will be focused on only one. Then root of that thought you will understand. So if you come out from that state also, afterwards also, your introspection power will increase. Whatever you're thinking, whatever you can divide them and observe them. As an observer, you will become your capability will increase. So that's reverse from para to, yeah. But definitely we need to practice the Trikarana Suddhi in that part. Normal life or other life was like, you should not talk much. If you are not trying to say something which is manipulated word, please don't talk and keep on practice. Then we can go back. Vak Suddhi happens.
Mr. Suresh has got some question, I guess. Suresh Garu, do you have a question? No, that's fine. All right. I think the one very good thing, very impactful, was that you conflated two pictures, Dakshinamurti and Sri Krishna. And that's absolutely brilliant. One, he told a Gita, all the 18 chapters. Another one didn't do anything at all, just sitting there. So both of them, that's absolutely brilliant. I mean, it's a very, very insightful thing.
It came to my mind when I was walking went for bushwalk. Suddenly that idea came.
In fact, that goes to the root of the Vedic knowledge as well. I think you can transmit knowledge without having anything, but also the complete knowledge has been transferred by the hundreds of verses that in Gita goes.
But that is attested by some scriptures also, sir. Not just I'm in winter. That thought came, and afterwards I saw like there is a proper link between whatever I thought, that Dakshinamurti Tattva and Sri Krishna Bhagavad Gita.
It is very good. Very good. Very good. And also you said the Om is a doorway. That's also very, very, very insightful. Because if you think of it, the triangle that you had, I think it's can you map the entire Akshara to the Sri Chakra? I think at some point we can do.
Yes, Sri Chakra also we can map. Sri Chakra is also another Akshara related only, but higher levels like Guru will tell something, some specific combinations that will be chanted. That's what they say. Otherwise, Aksharas are normally attached to many yantras and
Cool.
some particular,
I think I'm done with my questions, I guess. Anyone else has got any more questions?
One
Yeah.
more question. Yes.
Please go ahead.
Uma Mahesh Garu, when you drew that picture of the rows and columns where you had the Katapayadi system, the rows and columns, and then you added more on the left, what I saw was initially also when you said the Akshara, if you understand the Akshara system, it improves our perception of the unity in diversity of Bharat.
yes.
When you go to dialects and different languages. So right now it is apparent from what you have said that because we do not understand the root Akshara system, we see discrimination between language and geographical presence as well. But however, when you showed that map of the letters as well as Bharat, if this Akshara system was understood properly, then two things which we can achieve is the discrimination of diversity as us being different, that will go away and the unity will be found. And also the Akhanda Bharata picture in your letters, in your map, what I could see is the Akhanda Bharata picture.
Yeah.
So it appears that the way to reach that state of Akhanda Bharat and unity and harmony is through Akshara only.
Yeah.
By listening to these two sections of yours, the one mantra that I learned is that if we are in the work of uniting Hindus or uniting people in general, not just Hindus, or unity in diversity, then this is the mantra. This is the path.
Yeah, that's why I named it Akshara Khandam. That's why that Bharata Khandam is Akshara Khandam. Mainly, sir, like uniting Hindus or uniting humans here. Normally, the greater word normally they add. Everyone nowadays adding. All the countries is power hungry. They're adding nowadays. Greater something, greater that. They wanted to conquer all the other political entities, merge them and crush them like sugarcane and use them. Have only one script and all across that globe. But our rishis and Aksharam philosophy is entirely different. I need to reiterate here. You also know that Hindu Sanatana Dharma philosophy is Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu. Everyone should live properly. The Prakriti, nothing but creation, should reign properly. Properly, everyone should live. No hunger, no drought. This is our mantra. That Greater India, and that is the harmony, that is the heart of Greater India, was there. Nowadays, because of other reasons, it's trimmed out. But Aksharam still there in the Para, Madhyama, Pashyanti state, still in those areas that will be reignited by the Akshara. By the grace of Akshara.
Yeah, absolutely. This is actually goes to the core of ethos of Sanatana Dharma, that diversity everywhere. We support diversity everywhere. We don't want to normalize everything into one and then basically smash all the diversity across the board. So this goes to the core of thing we are supporting at the language level. I think another brilliant observation was that your linguistic diversity actually supports the biodiversity. That's another brilliant observation as well.
Absolutely.
And this is a real good correlation how when you kill a language or dialect, and then you basically kill the culture, not only culture, also you kill the nature as well, right? Yeah. It's much more sinister and much more dangerous, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's also a very good point. I think this, your Ujjamam, should basically, we should all support it. I think we from Infinity Foundation Australia will give full support to your Ujjamam. Please let us know what help we can do.
Thank you.
In your effort.
Sure.
If there aren't any more questions, then probably I will close. Saraswati ji, have you got anything else to say? You have been listening patiently.
Thank you very much, Umesh ji. Uma Mahesh ji, sorry. I could not attend the first part. That's why I'm just, yeah, I'm here and there. I'm just listening to it. I'll get the first part from the recording. I'm very much interested because I'm also learning from the other part. But I just wanted to ask you one question. Is it from the Tantra Samuchayam you have taken it, or basically, or you have covered? I didn't see the first part, so I'm not sure. The second part has convinced me, but the first part I didn't know. So I just wanted to know whether it was taken from the Tantra Samuchayam.
This is Vijnana Bhairava Tantra. Many books, Saraswati ji, like Vijnana Bhairava Tantra and Sri Vidya Sampradaya. There are multiple books, and also from Guru Parampara. There is actually in Kashmir Shaivism books, and also Kashmir Shaivism, as well as from the Natya Shastra books, and also the Vedic linguistics like Siksha Granthas. That Sri Vidya related, there is a tradition for Kala, Nyasa, all these things. That is from the Guru Parampara only. So it is normally taught. It is a mix of everything, not from the Tantra Samuchaya.
Okay.
Yeah, probably it's indirectly it's Tantra Samuchaya, probably.
Yes,
but
it comes
yeah.
to the, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. I have lots of questions, but unfortunately, I'm unable to connect from the first part. I missed out. I really didn't want to miss out, but I'm doing the counseling, and that is why this, Vangme Manasi Pratishtita, that part is for my counseling. So I do counseling for other people. So I'm really busy with that. Then I just wanted to connect that with how that manas comes. And even the walk which is coming is also from the chemicals which is coming from the food what we eat. So annam hi manaha, then from there it comes. So I was just thinking, it's all connected, and it's very nice to get more and more deep into it. And probably we may be, with your help, we may be able to establish something in Australia to get to other people in a easiest way, how this aksharam can be delivered to others. Yeah.
Yes, so same thing in Mahanyasam also, they say Vangme Manasa Pratishtha, Vak Hridaye, Hridaya. They say, everything goes again. Hridaya means Hridaya is here, core part. So Atma means, so always it is mapping mechanism. It is not just chanting. With Bhava, we should, feel it. That is Nyasa.
Yeah.
Thank you.
True. Dhanyavad. Thank you.
Cool. Excellent. Well, then probably I think we'll draw to a close. It's already way past our time, but the topic is so interesting that we could not stop asking more questions. But I think this is not an end of your session. Probably we'll be working more closely with you. So don't feel that we are letting you go. We'll always work more closely on future projects, right? Thanks for attending.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Namaste.
Dhanyawad.
Dhanyavad.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.